Welcome to Every LA Talks with Los Angeles real estate agent Matthias Baker Mazzucci.
All right. Well, listen, if you're a landlord in LA, you've got to listen to this, because if you're tired of dealing with all the issues, the laws, the restrictions, well, I've got some good news for you. Today, we are talking about triple nets, and we're talking about something very important, the quality of tenants. So if you haven't checked any of the videos where we define what a triple net is and how it works, please do so. But for now, we're just going to talk about the quality of tenants. So Tyler, thank you for joining me and helping me unravel this. One of the things that actually, even before the quality of tenant, I have to ask you a question. This is a personal thing that I want you to kind of elaborate. Why don't these corporations, McDonald's and Dollar Tree and all these companies that are tenants in triple nets, why don't they own their own building and their own land?
It's a great question, and it's actually one of the first questions first-time triple net buyers always ask me. You know, when you're selling a McDonald's or a Starbucks or a Chick-fil-A, I mean, why doesn't the company that has billions of dollars buy this property?
Right.
The simplest answer, Matthias, is that their money is much more well spent investing in their operations. Chick-fil-A is not going to buy a $7 million property when they could take that $7 million and open up 5 more restaurants, because they're making more money on the margins of their business versus just real estate ownership. That's the simplest answer of why.
That makes perfect sense. Very good. Now let's talk about the quality of tenants, because we saw before, not all triple nets are created the same, but you mentioned some national brands that everybody's familiar with. But what are some, obviously, even amongst, even companies like Rite Aid, or like Kmart, where is Kmart, right?
Yeah.
If you've got to be able to sort of like pick the ones that are solid and consistent. In your experience, who really stands out?
It depends on what you're looking for as a landlord and what kind of return and risk tolerance you're willing to take.
Okay.
If you're looking for cream of the crop, best credit tenants in the space, you've got your Home Depot, Lowe's, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, AutoZone. These tenants have great credit, corporately traded companies, and you can rest assured that they're going to be paying you your rent. Now, the downside is if you buy one of those top tier tenants, typically your return or your cap rate is going to be low. Now, if you want to take on a little more risk, you might invest in a smaller company or maybe a franchisee owned and operated business where the credit's going to be a little bit lower, but we'll use round numbers. For example, if you were to buy a Chick-fil-A at a 4% cap rate, you could also buy, call it a Wendy's that's operated by a franchisee. Maybe they have 15 stores, and you could get that at a 6.5% cap rate.
Got it.
4% return on your money, 6.5% return on your money, but there's more risk. So those are the pros and cons of different tenants.
That makes perfect sense. Now, with high risk tolerance, because we know that from the investment standpoint, there's people who make a lot of money in the junk bond world. So obviously, there's a lot of triple B companies that are still afloat and doing okay, even though there's a lot more risk. So in the case of triple nets, if I say, you know what, I'm going to diversify my portfolio, I'm going to buy some really good, strong, 4% solid. I know these people are never going to go out of business, but I also want to play, with some other, another portion of my portfolio. I would like to get close to 7, 8 if I can. Is that possible? Are you seeing returns around those numbers in less than, perfect, tenants?
100%, yes. And we see it oftentimes with clients that are in large 1031 exchanges, call it they have $20 million to place, right? We'll work with their CPA, their financial advisor, and they're trying to balance out a portfolio return. So call it if their target return is 6%, they're going to take some risks on certain tenants that are offering a 7.5% return. And then they're also going to make sure they have the blue chips, the strong, the steady tenants that are going to be there for 50 years at a 4% return.
Right.
They've got their risk, they've got their low risk, but they're just trying to find that balance of that 6% return across the portfolio. I'm using arbitrary numbers, but that's the idea. But to answer your question, yes.
Perfect. Very nice. Thank you. I appreciate this. Obviously we could dig much deeper into the quality of tenants. But this is a great idea. It's an invitation. If you're watching and if you have more questions, do reach out, because we could go over specific offerings and give you a strategy to essentially exit this market through the 1031 exchange. You can defer your capital gains and you can buy assets, and Tyler sells all over the country in all 50 states. So that's very telling. You could maybe buy a place in Hawaii and use that as an excuse to go and visit your triple net once in a while. So all right, thank you very much for joining us in this video. If you're thinking about buying or selling in LA, we are just a call away. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Thank you for watching. To find out more, visit everyla.com.